semifinals in top eliminator. Russ Bailey in the near lane, Vicky Hall in the far lane. And the winner to the far lane, Vicky Hall, 298. 298 for Vicky Hall to a 300 for Russ Bailey. Vicky had the starting line edge, 104 to 136, and she held it through the finish line. 298 to a 300. Vicky Hall's going to the finals in top eliminator. It's a great semifinal match there between Vicky Hall and Russ Bailey, both making the trip in long distance. Vicky and her husband Damon and the crew coming from New Mexico. Russ made the trip in from Missouri. So Vicky Hall will go to the final where she will face off with Jim Rossi in the Bad Toy Dragster. I hear him starting up back there. Jim Rossi out of Auberry, California. He has the bye to the final. Let's see what he can do here. So here comes Jim. He'll be over on the far side of the track. We'll see what he can do. See if he can get inside Vicky's 298 for lane choice. And Jim Rossi goes 303. 303 at 103 at a 159 light. So Jim Rossi will race Vicky Hall in the top eliminator final. Vicky with the lane choice when they come back in about an hour and a half or so for the final. So Vicky Hall and Jim Rossi will be your TE final here today at the Soboba Casino in San Jacinto, California, on the National Standard News live stream presented by Good Vibrations Motorsports. So it looks like we're going to clean the track and come back with the top alcohol final. Water's coming down, tractors are coming down, so we'll be back in just a moment from the Soboba Casino in San Jacinto, California. All right, it's time for the top alcohol final round. It's going to be Jim Hammond over on the far side. Jim's going to have a solo for the win, as Jimmy DePass, his opponent, was unable to make the call. But they're going to put on a side-by-side pass here. As you can see there, Nick Janik in the Larry Minor Motorsports Jeep is going to line up alongside of him to put on a show for the crowd here. They made their best pass of the weekend on the last one at 283, so we'll see what Bob DeVore has up his sleeve on this one. He puts the tune up in the Larry Minor ride. And Jim Hammond, 248 in the first round. What more can we say about that? His best pass in a while. I'm sure he'll be trying to step it up even more on this run. The track's really good right now. Conditions are pretty good, so I'm sure Jim's shooting for a 45, 46, somewhere in that range. And certainly the Larry Minor team's shooting for somewhere in the low 70s here. Alcohol firing up. So Jim Hammond over on the far side goes 249 at 137. He's the top alcohol winner today, 249 at 137 for Jim Hammond. Backs up his earlier 248. A couple of solid runs on race day. But Jim Hammond, your top alcohol winner. Nick Janik, he went A to B, 291 at 114. I think something came off the car at the finish line. Not sure what happened with Nick there. But that was the solo run for Jim Hammond for the top alcohol final round. Like I said, his opponent, Jimmy DePass, was unable to make the call. So Hammond decided to line up next to Nick Janik to put on a show for the crowd. And Jim did just that, 249 at 137. Nice run for the April's Dream team. And that's all for right now, guys. We're going to come back for the final rounds of Top Eliminator and Fast Fours later on, as well as late round pro bracket action. You've been watching National Sand Drag News live stream presented by Good Vibrations Motorsports. Thanks, we'll be back in a little bit.